Welcome to Flower Juice. My name is John McDonald, and today we're going to show you a Christmas arrangement that would be ideal for going in a hall or going on a table, and it's going to be an all-round arrangement. So what we've got is we've got a mirror that I'm going to use as a base. I've got a Posy pad with wet foam which I've pre-soaked. And we've used this one before, so if you've got one that's looking a bit scrappy, it doesn't matter because this really, you're not going to see this at all. We've got these wonderful little Christmas trees, and these are little wooden trees, so you get lots of different things like this at this time of year, and these can come in sets or they can come in different sizes. I quite like these because they have a little snowflake, little piece of decor on it, which is quite cute. We've got some cones. I've got a little bit of artificial ivy actually, and this is like a little garland, but it's got a little touch of glitter, got a little touch of ribbon, and we've got some moss, and this moss, I decided I had some moss here already, but it was looking a bit pale in colour because it had been sitting around for a while, so all I did was went outside and managed to find this on our wall. And flower wise, I've got a range of different flowers. We've got some lovely ornithagolum. I've got some beautiful hellebore, and this is quite interesting because normally you think of this as a spring flower at the start of the year, but this has actually become available just now in November and October, and we've been getting it for the last couple of weeks and it's been lasting really well. I've got a little bit of santini, so this is a chrysanth. We've got some lisianthus. I've got some nice grey thistles actually, so some eryngium. We've got some pussy willow, and I've got just a little touch of eucalyptus. So basically our colour palette is going to be the whites and the silvers and the greens. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm really just using this mirror as a base for going underneath our Posy pad. Because I'm going to add some moss, what I really don't want is for that moss to be landing on a table and making a mess. So in a way, this mirror is going to give us a little bit of a protection for what's underneath. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to place our trees. Now, unless you're going to be doing something that's going to have them moving around, you probably don't need to do anything more than that. What you could do is you could use a plastic frog, which has got like 4 prongs, stick that on and use that to stick in. But really these are quite stable because of the base, so we'll not worry too much. So we've added them on, and the first thing that we're going to do is use our moss. And this moss is lovely and fresh, and really this is what we wanted, was to have it nicer quality and nicer feel. So I'm just working that on, and it can go down onto that mirror, that's not a problem. Now you will find moss is a bit messy, I'm afraid, but that's just the way it is. It's just a case of doing the messy bit, and then you can actually see, like this was the old moss that I had, which was really pale in colour. So we can actually add a little bit of that if we want, and we can get a little bit of contrast. So you could use different mosses, that wouldn't be a problem. We're just going to basically work that over the Posy pad and create a base for our little trees. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to tuck that in really with my hand. So it looks a bit like a cake, but then if it's for Christmas, that's not a bad thing. So we've got our moss, and this is looking quite nice. But what we want to do is I've cut some wires short. I'm just going to bend them to make like a hairpin, and we're just going to pin this in to give it a bit more stability. So these are actually like a plastic coated wire, so they're not going to rust, but because of what we're doing with it, it doesn't really matter. What you'll find is when you're using moss like this, if it's wet, it's actually just going to sit exactly where you want it. It's when it's dry that it's much more likely to get moved around or damaged as you're doing other things. So we'll get plenty pins in here, and that's just going to hold. So actually just having that wee contrast in moss is quite nice. And with our trees, we've just set them up in a way that's creating a nice group. So what I want to do is, before we actually start doing anything else, I've got this nice voile ribbon, and this is in a green, and I just want to bring this round. So when we were saying it's a bit like a cake, then we can actually just, you know, go with that feeling and put a little bit of decor around the actual design. So I've just tied that round, and then the same with our little garland. So this is like a plastic ivy with a glitter feel to it, and we can just work that on. So again, what I can do, I can use a wire just to hold it, and then we can just take that round. So we're just creating a detail that's on top of that ribbon, and at some bits it's going to be a little bit fuller. Now let's just have a wee clean. So this is creating a nice edge to our arrangement. So flower wise, we've got our pussy willow, and what I want to do with the pussy willow is really just use that to give us a little bit of height. And really with this design, what we're going to do is we're going to group things. So we don't want to hide all this moss because it's looking really, really nice. We just want to use a few elements and bring little groupings like a little woodland scene. So here we're creating a couple of pieces and a couple of pieces, and it's creating this little cluster. And that's what we're going to do with our foliage and with our flowers. So if I've got a bit of eucalyptus here, I probably want to do another piece somewhere else. I don't really want to have just groups that are in isolation. And our main flower is probably the lisianthus, and it's quite strong in the sense that it's quite a big flower. So I'm just adding that in. Great thing with this is we can split it down and create again a little group. So this is where the foam being wet is perfect. And again, because I've got some over there, we're going to come on to this side and do some here. And you can actually take some of these heads quite low down. It's really not a problem. So like what I've done here is I've got the bud really quite low, is quite good. And we can put even a single flower over onto here. So we're just building this up and making it more interesting. So this was looking quite plain, but now with adding very little material, we've basically got something that's quite interesting. So my other flowers that I like, I love these ornithagolum. And what I liked about these was they're a bit like a tree. So they already have a kind of conical top section. So we can pop a couple of them in and have a little bit of a tree thing going on over there. And then we can do the same over here. And I like the little hellebores. So these hellebores have got the most beautiful shape. We're just going to pop in a little bit here. So you have to look at the material and see what the natural shape is. Got one or two little loose cones that we're just going to pop right in quite low. And just to finish, I've got one or two little thistles and I've got one or two little santini. The little santini are just lovely because they're so white. But again, I just want to make them really short and just pop them into little groups. So creating like a little cluster like this. They also have quite a nice stem, so you can go a little bit higher with them if you want. That wouldn't be a problem. So this is really a design that if you were going to do maybe a party and have quite a few tables, you could do a lot of these with not a lot of material. And all you really need to do is just add 1 or 2 tea lights or little votives just round the table just to catch the light. Now I've made this quite natural, but if you wanted, you could add a little bit more sparkle with different things. But there we go, we've got a simple table arrangement, ideal for Christmas. It's not over the top, it's quite understated, but I think your guests and your family will love this. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and click here to subscribe and keep up to date with all our ideas and new videos.